And joining me now on this India Today special broadcast is Sushant Sareen, Senior Fellow at the Observer Research Foundation, someone who keeps a hawk eye on developments in Pakistan. Sushant Sareen, I want to quote to you what President Donald Trump said. He said, India and the United States of America will work like never before to combat radical Islamic terror. What does the extradition of this Pakistani army captain Tahafur Hussain Rana to India almost a decade and a half plus later after 26/11 actually means, Sushant Sareen?
Gaurav, it means a lot. It means a lot, not just in the context of, bringing justice to the victims of 26/11, because this guy was one of the linchpins of the plotters or, the people who plotted that attack. He was one of the main characters in terms of providing logistical support, travel, all kinds of other stuff which he had done, including financing some of these projects. He was somebody who was very well connected with some of the more shady characters, that Major Iqbals and Sajid Mir, who was declared dead by the Pakistanis. And then finally, when there was too much pressure put on them, they dug him out of his grave and they've convicted him now. Probably he's living in some five-star hotel somewhere. Those kind of very, very shady characters were all people that Rana was interacting with. Now, his extradition is important because, look, his conviction in the US, the Americans did not probably go into the kind of microscopic detail of whatever he knew, because they were interested in getting a conviction. They got a conviction. In India's case, there is both an intelligence angle as well as a criminal justice angle to getting this guy over. And that intelligence angle, which means that, there will be a lot of stuff that the security agencies will want to ferret out of him. Of course, some of it will be dated, but it will still fill in some of the important blanks in how these organizations work. What are the various kind of linkages, how those linkages work inside Pakistan.
Very interesting. You talk about, and I want to bring in Arzu Kazmi from Pakistan in just a moment, because Arzu Kazmi, clearly it's not achhe din for Pakistan when the President of the United States and the Prime Minister of India on the same page to battle radical Islamic terror, and Tahafur Hussain Rana is extradited to India. तो आईएसआई का गेम ओवर?
अब ये तो कहना मुश्किल है कि आईएसआई का गेम ओवर, बट गौरव, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल फॉरेन ऑफिस ने इस स्टेटमेंट को रिजेक्ट कर दिया है. पाकिस्तान की फॉरेन ऑफिस सेड कि ये एक मिसलीडिंग स्टेटमेंट है और इसमें पाकिस्तान को जो है बिल्कुल भी शामिल नहीं किया गया है. तो आई थिंक अभी पाकिस्तान इस चीज को एक्सेप्ट करने के लिए तैयार नहीं है. एंड सेकंड थिंग इज दैट कि पाकिस्तान देख रहा है कि इंडिया जो है इज गोइंग हाई बिकॉज ऑफ इट्स इकोनॉमी एंड फॉरेन पॉलिसी. सो ऑब्वियसली डोनाल्ड ट्रंप के साथ रिलेशंस आपके अच्छे हैं, सो यू विल ट्राई टू क्रिएट सम प्रॉब्लम फॉर पाकिस्तान. दिस इज व्हाट पीपल आर टॉकिंग अबाउट एंड दिस इज व्हाट पीपल आर थिंकिंग हियर इन पाकिस्तान. सो आई डोंट थिंक इसको बहुत
आईएसआई के ऑफिसर्स का नाम निकलेगा. पाकिस्तान आर्मी में कौन कौन थे जो 26/11 में इन्वॉल्व थे. बट व्हाट इज वर्स, सुशांत सरीन, नाउ पाकिस्तान, the threat that Pakistan poses to the entire civilized world. Tahafur Hussain Rana was a Lashkar-e-Taiba sleeper cell in Canada. David Coleman Headley was a Lashkar-e-Taiba sleeper cell in the United States of America. And we don't know how many sleeper cells does Lashkar-e-Taiba have like this in Canada, in England, in France, across Europe.
Yeah, so there will be a lot of information that will be ferreted out of this guy. On all those various, proxies who operate, who are basically citizens of the UK, Australia, US, Canada, a number of other countries, Germany, for example. And we know it for a fact that Pakistani intelligence agency officers posted in their missions in some of these countries use these kinds of dubious characters to actually make an outreach into the diaspora, and then use members of the diaspora, either threaten them, intimidate them, or bribe them in some cases. For example, there was one person who was caught in the UK wanting to go and murder a blogger in Netherlands. very
Yes.
clearly had been paid by the ISI, but the British covered it all up because of their relations with the Pakistanis. British cover up all these kinds of actions anyways. So they didn't expose the ISI, but there is no such compunctions on India's part to not expose, these ISI handlers or the ISI agents in many of these countries. So that will be a very important piece of information. And then, of course, Gaurav,
Okay.
when you get hold of a guy like this and he starts singing like a canary, there is a certain amount of value in terms of the propaganda, in terms of highlighting to the rest of the world the kind of terrorist games that the Pakistanis play. So I think, yes, and I see no reason why India needs to be restrained on this count, especially
Oh,
because at this point
absolutely
in
not.
time,
India
we are
must
getting
expose.
exposed to Pakistanis ramping up terrorism in Jammu and Kashmir. So why will we not
Very
use
significant
this
point you
against them?
raise. Very significant. But let me get Arzu to respond. Arzu, पाकिस्तान इंडिया के केस में तो बोल सकता है कि ठीक है, हमको नहीं मालूम, हमको नहीं बताया गया, इंडिया बहुत पावरफुल है, इसीलिए डोनाल्ड ट्रंप के साथ मिलकर वो हमें फंसा रहे. लेकिन जब आईएसआई के स्लीपर सेल्स इंग्लैंड में निकलेंगे, जैसे जिन्होंने 7/7 लंदन बॉम्बिंग की थी, वो भी सब पाकिस्तानी ओरिजिन के थे, या फिर वो एयर मार्शल का बेटा, एयर वाइस मार्शल का बेटा जिसने न्यूयॉर्क में बॉम्बिंग करने की कोशिश की थी, प्लेन में बैठ गया था, तब गिरफ्तार हुआ था. इस तरह के जब स्लीपर सेल निकलेंगे कि पाकिस्तानी दुनिया के किसी कोने में होते हैं, वो टेरर फैलाते हैं, जब ये निकलेगा तो बेसिकली आईएसआई की शामत आएगी कि नहीं आएगी, या पाकिस्तान वो आईएसआई फिर ब्रेजन आउट कर जाएगा?
नहीं, देखें, ये एक बहुत बड़ा चैलेंज है पाकिस्तान के लिए. ऑब्वियसली ये बहुत बड़ा एक एलिगेशन लगा है और इसके ऊपर हम लोग यहाँ पे जितने भी जर्नलिस्ट और एक्टिविस्ट हैं, वी आर जस्ट वेटिंग फॉर द आईएसपीआर और एजेंसीज की तरफ से कोई स्टेटमेंट आए तो हमें पता लगे कि ये क्या सोच रहे हैं. लेकिन ये एक चीज हुई है और इस पे अगर इंडिया बोलता तो जाहिर है हम मना कर देते, लेकिन अमेरिका को ना करना बहुत मुश्किल है पाकिस्तान के लिए. सो इट्स अ बिग चैलेंज फॉर पाकिस्तान नाउ. और इस किस्म के लोग जहां से भी पकड़े जाए, नो मैटर कि वो किस एजेंसी से हैं या वो कहां से हैं, उनको प्रॉपर सजा मिलनी चाहिए. ये तो मैं बिल्कुल कहती हूँ कि अगर वो पाकिस्तान की एजेंसी से हो, पाकिस्तान की पॉलिटिशियंस हो या कोई भी हो, या दुनिया में कहीं से भी वो बिलोंग करते हो, अगर कोई इस किस्म की हरकत करेगा, टेररिज्म करेगा, तो उसको बिल्कुल सजा होनी चाहिए. और मेरे ख्याल है हम लोग थोड़ा सा इंतजार कर लें कि हमारे जो एजेंसीज हैं या आईएसपीआर की तरफ से या फॉरेन ऑफिस की तरफ से कोई स्टेटमेंट आए इस बारे में.
Sushant Sareen, in the past, Pakistan has brazened it out. Even when Pakistan's Federal Investigation Agency carried out an investigation into the 26/11 Mumbai terror attacks and found that the 10 terrorists had been trained in Thatta, Sindh. They were trained by Pakistan Army elements. They were trained by Pakistan Navy, and the boat came from Pakistan. There was so much evidence that Pakistan gathered. They didn't go after state actors. So Major Iqbal, Sajid Mir, and several others. What about Hafiz Saeed? They've still taken no action against him for 26/11. So can India expect action, or will Namaloom Afraad continue to do what Namaloom Afraad have been doing?
Gaurav, let's be realistic. I don't think the Pakistanis are going to take any action. I think the way that state is structured and the way that state is crafted, I think this kind of activity, this kind of nefarious activity is part of the state's culture. So I don't expect, any kind of contrition from Pakistanis or any kind of an effort to reform themselves. I don't see that happen, number one. Number two, what is likely to happen is the brazenness, the blank denials that they had nothing to do with it. There's typical charges that, oh, this is commerce which is talking. Like, there's guys say, oh, this is, this is, what do you say, deep pockets, as their former foreign minister used to use as a slur against Jewish people, deep pockets talking. So those are the kind of slurs they're going to use to try and explain this away, to try and divert it. That's going to be the second line of attack. The third line of attack from the Pakistanis is going to be that, it is actually India which is doing everything, because like one of this clownish high commissioners to India, Abdul Basit, he still says 26/11 was a false flag attack. There's some of their journalists, very highly regarded journalists, call it a false flag attack. So you will have those kind of characters coming out of the woodwork to spread their kind of propaganda. And that is the way this is going to play out. But I think we need to be relentless in exposing the shenanigans of the Pakistani state, of their agencies, and of their people. who come and pretend as though they want very good relations with India, but behind our backs, behind everybody's backs, they're basically conspiring against India. So I have no faith on Pakistan coming clean on this.
Because Arzu, people like Tahafur, Hussain, Rana and David Coleman Headley, they were involved in 26/11 Mumbai terror attacks in India, but they were also convicted of trying to spread terror in Denmark, in Copenhagen, in Europe. That is where Pakistan's real nightmare will start, when details of Pakistani sleeper cells in Canada, in Europe and United States, when they come out in public domain, because this time it will come out with evidence. And God, for you, God forbid, Pakistan may be back on the FATF grey list.
Exactly. I 100% agree. First of all, I want to say that I 100% agree with Sushant Sareen sir. What he said, that Pakistan will never accept this thing. और हम यहाँ से इनकार ही करेंगे और हमारा यही कहना होगा कि नहीं, हमारे पर एलिगेशन है because of India. Because India is involved when Prime Minister Modi is in America, and of course he's talking with, or he's discussing Pakistan with Donald Trump. So पाकिस्तान के लिए कहना बहुत आसान होगा, लेकिन अब चीजें थोड़ी सी हमें मुश्किल नजर आ रही हैं, इसमें से निकलते हुए हम मुश्किल दिखाई दे रहे हैं और FATF में दोबारा जाते हुए भी दिखाई दे रहे हैं, अगर हमने फौरन इसके ऊपर कोई पॉजिटिव तरीके से एक्शन ना लिया. क्योंकि अगर इस किस्म के लोगों को सपोर्ट करेंगे तो ऑब्वियसली दुनिया बात करेगी. और अब तो आपको पता है कि सोशल मीडिया का जमाना है, वो तो है नहीं कि 71 में क्या हुआ और उसके बाद हमने कोई और कहानी सुना दी, वो तो अब चलेगा नहीं. तो डेफिनेटली पाकिस्तान को अगर इस प्रॉब्लम से निकलना है तो अपनी गलती तो एक्सेप्ट करनी होगी
और दोषियों के खिलाफ कार्रवाई करनी होगी. Will Pakistan do that? Take action against Hafiz Saeed, Masood Azhar and all these Maulanas of terror in Pakistan who've been flourishing under the Pakistan army. Sushant Sareen and Arzu Kazmi for joining me here on India Today. Many thanks. We'll be tracking this story very, very closely. India will be relentless, and this time Donald Trump has said India and the United States will be relentless in their war on radical Islamic terror. That is all I have for you on this special broadcast. Many thanks for watching.